What's good, YouTube? In this video, we'll be taking a look at a specifications overview of the specs available for the Samsung S22 Ultra and the Google Pixel 7 Pro as well. These two flagships have very similar specs on paper, so let's get started. First, with display, the S22 Ultra has a 3088 by 1440 display, coming in at 6.8 inches. The Pixel 7 Pro actually has a lower resolution display at 1440 by 1320, and it's slightly smaller at 6.7 inches as well. We'll have to see when the Pixel 7 Pro is released just how it stacks up in terms of things like color vibrance and brightness versus the excellent display found on the S22 Ultra. Overall, these are similar sized phones with very high resolutions display, so both of them should be adequate for most usage as well. Next up, we have the rear cameras. The S22 has 4 lenses with a 108 megapixel main shooter, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, a 3x telephoto, and a 10x telephoto zoom. The Google Pixel 7 Pro also has 3 lenses with a 50 megapixel main lens, a 12 megapixel x1 ultra wide, and a slight edge on the telephoto, the standard telephoto for the S22 Ultra at 5x telephoto optical zoom. Of course, the Pixel 7 Pro doesn't have the flagship feature of the S22 Ultra, which is the 10x telephoto zoom. But no other phones in this flagship space really do carry this feature, and we'll have to see with Google Pixel's excellent camera and computational photography just how the camera on the Pixel 7 Pro perform. Unsurprisingly, the Samsung S22 Ultra with its 108 megapixel main shooter has an edge in terms of the spec department, but the camera and the software that are built into the Pixel line of phones really has produced some great results in the last year. So we'll just have to see upon release if the difference in megapixels will make up for image quality and other metrics. Both are flagship phones, and if the Pixel 6 was any indication of photo quality, we have a lot to look forward to with the camera department on the Pixel 7 Pro. Next up, we have the front-facing camera. Here, Samsung also has an edge with a 40 megapixel main shooter for the front-facing selfie camera. The Google Pixel 7 Pro has a 10 megapixel main shooter for the front-facing camera. And much like the other systems involved here, this is going to be heavily dependent upon software, as even though the S22 has many more megapixels than the Google Pixel 7, it doesn't necessarily equate to the same difference in quality, as both phones, in terms of the built-in optimization and artificial intelligence that is geared towards image quality on the selfie camera, have really developed a long way over the past few generations. We'll be interested to see if things like dark mode will be factored into the Google Pixel 7 Pro, which was recently introduced on both the iPhone and the Galaxy series of phones on the selfie camera. The Google Pixel 7 Pro at 10 megapixels for the front-facing camera is comparable to other flagship phones, including the recently released iPhone 14 Pro Max. Megapixels doesn't necessarily indicate higher image quality, but just in terms of raw specs, the S22 Ultra does apparently have the edge in terms of megapixels on the rear-facing and selfie-facing camera in both of these departments. Moving on to battery life, this is where both phones actually share some similar specs. The Samsung S22 Ultra has a battery life at 5,000 milliamp hours and rated by Samsung officially at over 10 hours of usage. The Pixel 7 Pro also has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery as well. Google hasn't released what the battery usage will be, but Google has released that on low power mode that the Google Pixel series will be able to last over 72 hours on a single charge. We'll just have to see, as the Pixel series has had above average battery performance over the last few generations of phones. This, though, with its direct competitor as the S22 Ultra, who has had pretty bad battery performance. upon initial release, and some battery fixes have been addressed upon further software releases after the initial release of the S22 Ultra. So overall, if you're looking at flagships here, the iPhone might have the better performance just in terms of raw software and hardware optimization for the battery, and the Google Pixel series has historically been a little bit better than the Samsung Galaxy series in terms of battery performance. We'll just have to see upon the Google Pixel 7's release if the large screen and the Google do result in a lot better battery performance than the Galaxy series and last year's Pixel 6 series of phones. Google is certainly paying attention to the market and the many people that have these kind of large flagship devices in terms of how important battery life is, and they have advertised an extreme lower power mode with a battery life of over 72 hours on the latest Google Pixel 7 series of phones. It's going to be interesting to see if these phone manufacturers, Samsung, Google, and Apple, realize how important battery is, and for these power users on their flagship devices, how much they need a stable and long-lasting battery that can support prolonged daily usage with very long screen on time. It wasn't so long ago that a 5,000 milliamp hour battery was almost unheard of on a flagship phone, so it'd be interesting to see just how fast the software can catch up with the increases in hardware in terms of the battery department as well. So there you have it, everyone, just a specification breakdown of the Samsung S22 Ultra and the Google Pixel 7 Pro. The S22 Ultra, as expected, does have a lot of edge in terms of both camera and screen resolution on the Pixel 7 Pro, but this is generally the case as Samsung really does put a lot into making sure on paper its flagship S22 series has much better specs than the competitors. The Google Pixel series has really improved over the last few years, and it'll be interesting to see how, with the bigger battery and the higher resolution screen, what kind of offering they have in terms of the Pixel 7 Pro, being the most expensive phone with this generation of Pixel phones. The Pixel series really has come a long way since its inception, and what once was just a funky side project for Google has really developed into a major flagship competitor that can compete with the likes of the Galaxy series and Apple's iPhone as well. So there you have it, everyone. If there's any other specs that you think are important for this comparison, leave a message down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.